Hey, what's up, guys? Ryan here. I have been at the range all day today, and at the range, you know, Lincoln. So tell everybody, what's your favorite gun, your dream gun, and why is it your dream?
My dream gun is a Scorpion because I don't really know. I just like them.
So I was at the range, and they said, dude, Ryan, we got a really awesome Scorpion in. So I was looking at it, and I was like, oh, man. Lincoln's always really wanted to shoot a Scorpion, and they said, you should go get him. Let him come here. We'll let him shoot it. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's so cool, right? So I finished my range class. I jumped in the car, grabbed Lincoln, who was running around the neighborhood, and I said, get in the whip, and we got to go shoot it. So we're on our way. Pull it. Come on. Go, Buttercup. Count to 10. What do you think, Lank?
It's awesome.
You like my new gun?
Yeah.
I haven't told him yet. Daddy bought it. Yeah. Aww. Put the mat in. Good. How was that?
It hurts my hands.
Okay.
It needs to stop.
It needs to stop.
After I shot the first shot, I was scared, and then I shot the second shot, and then it was just moving.
I have a bag that came with that, right?
Stop.
It's in there? Okay.
But I need to stop.
Yeah, so we're gonna definitely put a stock on it. We're gonna SBR this bad boy. We'll have to take the flash hider off so we can put the suppressor on. Okay, so Lincoln just said shooting a gun without a stock is so wrong. Shooting a big gun like that without a stock is so wrong, right?
Yeah.
And then what did you say about Africa?
Do African people shoot that?
In lots of countries, they shoot AK pistols and stuff, not just in Africa. But yeah, it's not ideal, right? Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Leave a comment down below if you're super excited for me and Lincoln getting Lincoln's dream favorite gun. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you?
10.
You're a 10. All right, thanks for watching, guys.
I am a sheepdog.
I have a subconscious and moral burden
to protect and help the people around me.
I believe in safety, responsibility,
and the God-given right to defend myself and others
from the wolves who seek to steal, kill, and destroy.
I defend the Second Amendment
by properly representing what it means to be a gun owner.
I will put aside my doubts,
my fears, and my excuses.
I will be trained, I will be ready.
I will be confident, and I will be prepared.
While some sheepdogs are born, most are made.
Becoming a sheepdog is a choice.
A new way of thinking and a new identity.
An alter ego that you must step into.
We are patriots.
We are defenders of liberty.
We protect those we love.
We are sheepdogs.
Okay, all right. Woo! Man, got a little stress there. Hit the button, nothing happened.
What is up?
I was like, oh, shoot.
I was like, Ryan messed up again. Not surprised. Not surprised.
What's up, guys?
So, you were playing that video with Lincoln, and I was like, wow, that car sure is clean. And it's so funny how, your new car, you wash it every single week. He babies it. He, is keeping it all clean. But his other truck that was his baby is growing mushrooms.
Okay.
So explain to the nice folks why you have mushrooms growing in your truck.
Because the kids broke the window, and then it rained and got water in my truck, and then now there's a mushroom growing on the carpet.
Fix the window
by bolting it shut, so you'll never be able to roll that window down again.
And then we just hadn't gone in there, and then I like opened the door the other day, and I'm like, oh, there's a mushroom growing in the truck. Yeah, pretty funny.
Interesting. We got on this freaking topic all of a sudden. What's up, Carlos? What's up, Michelle?
Happy Monday.
Princess Leia. Ryan, was your dad into guns? No, Wayne, he was not. When I was a kid, we had a 30-06 bolt gun. I don't remember who made it, but it was probably like a Browning
like a
style.
Remington or something,
it was a higher end version, like 30-06. Then we had like a super ghetto semi-automatic 12 gauge that did not function anymore. You could only fire it in single shot, and you had to like manually rack it.
Nice.
And then we had a badass over/under 22-410 break action, and it was like beautiful. And apparently that was my grandmother's. It all disappeared when my parents got divorced. That was my grandmother or my great grandmother's first gun. And it had been passed down, all these things.
Oh, too bad.
And then disappeared.
It's like went into some storage room and then.
But you know, we also have the sword from the Civil War, right?
But do you actually have it?
I don't have it. It got stolen.
Oh.
Yeah. So my grandfather, when he was 10 years old in Pennsylvania, him and his friends were playing, and they found a cave. And this cave in Pennsylvania was filled with hundreds of guns, ammunition, like explosives, all this stuff from the Civil War. Wow. So they called the police. The police came out, and it was him and like 6 of his friends found it. Police came out, and then they brought the Smithsonian out, and they like excavated it all and stuff. And the Smithsonian took everything, but they said to each kid that was there,
they can pick one thing.
You can pick one thing out of this cave, and you get to keep it.
But it can't be a gun.
They probably could have picked a gun, but my grandpa picked a sword. It was super badass. Disappeared when my parents got divorced.
Shut off your volume. Wow, that's kind of crazy.
Super crazy, yeah.
Wow, I don't know if I'm just saying, if I find a cave.
Dude, I'm not telling nobody.
I'm not telling nobody.
I'm telling nobody.
I'm like going back at night. I'm getting some bags.
I'm gonna be like, boys, Dad is holding up a position at this cave.
Yeah.
Go get Mom.
Yeah.
No question.
And I'm like grabbing all our Santa Claus gift bags. Ding, 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 ding. Like, just saying.
Yeah, you guys tell me what you would do. If you found a cave full of Civil War memorabilia, are you calling the authorities or are you loading it into your personal gun safe?
Yeah, totally. Wow,
Yeah.
That's a crazy story. I think you told me that story, but I probably forgot because you have so many stories. I don't even know. Like, sometimes I wonder about you.
Did I make them up?
Yeah, exactly. Because don't you have like a goblet too or something?
Yeah, my grandfather during World War II, he, you know, every German soldier that he would kill, he would take something, right?
Because back what they did back then.
You were allowed to
right?
take war trophies back then. You're not really allowed to anymore.
No, you get in big trouble.
On a big scale. Mm-hmm. But I mean, they kicked in this like castle, and they killed all the Germans in the castle, and then they started going around stealing stuff. But they stole like some German like king
like
goblets.
Royalty goblets.
It was so crazy. So we had like 6 of them. And then like when my grandmother passed away, each of the grandkids got like some of the stuff that my grandfather had taken. So like killed a soldier face to face, killed them, and then ripped all the medals off the dude's chest.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Too bad you didn't get that stuff.
I did get it.
Well.
It was stolen from me. All right, so.
Yeah, so happy to have everybody on tonight.
Go.
Excited. What? Oh, enter to win. Enter to win. If you haven't entered to win at tampacarry.com. At the end of the show, we're going to call your name. You got to be on watching the show for me to call your name. But make sure that you enter to win because your name has to be in the pool for me to contact you. We also will use this in case we get booted off of YouTube to contact you and let you know what our next avenue is. So make sure that you put your name in there.
We're thinking about pigeons, smoke signals. We're thinking we're going to go old school where there's no censorship anymore.
You're just going to look for smoke signals in the sky.
Yeah.
You'll see it.
There's been a new change in Florida gun law.
That's crazy that they used to do that, though, right? Like watch the skies for smoke signals. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, so.
Okay, Dan says to call him. He'll help.
Okay, Dan, you and Joe are definitely on my list. All right, so very first story. Ready for this? This is a pretty wild story that happened out of Polk County, which, I mean, you kind of expect everything wild and crazy to happen out of Polk County. You know, today, somebody got one of our packages, wrong house, got their package. Is that right?
Yes.
And they came to our home to deliver the package to us, which is a very neighborly thing to do.
Such a nice thing to do.
Such a nice thing to do. Well, in this story, a man living in an apartment.
Do we want to finish what you did? When I texted you and said, excuse me, I'm in the bathtub. I'm watching this guy on...
Tiffany, let's get to this.
No. I was going to tell that story because I think this is important.
Okay.
Ryan left on the Bugatti. Is what the kids call it. The golf cart that Jackson calls the Bugatti. And he left the garage door open.
We leave the garage door open all the time.
I know, but I told him you can't do that because I'm in the bathtub and I'm watching this guy ring the doorbell and I'm like, I hope he's not going to go in the garage door. I hope he doesn't go in the garage door because I'm in the bathtub.
Okay.
Close the garage door.
Are you ready?
Go ahead.
Now, what I'm about to tell you, you just absolutely cannot believe.
Sheriff Judd says it all started with a package delivered to the wrong door on Saturday morning when a neighbor realized that package of medication was for 73-year-old Gino Costa. He dropped it off at the correct address. Sheriff Judd says Costa and his 15-year-old son received alerts from the Ring camera of an unknown person at the door.
So what do? They think they're being broken into. Are you kidding me? The dude is being a good neighbor.
The sheriff says the father and son each grabbed a .45 caliber handgun and went searching in the parking lot for a suspected burglar that didn't exist. The sheriff says Costa approached a car with an innocent woman minding her own business in the driver's seat.
When she looks up and she sees Gino standing at the back of her vehicle with a gun pointed at her, screaming for her to get out of the car.
Thinking she was being carjacked, she hit reverse and backed into another car. That's when the sheriff says the son fired 5 shots and his father shot twice at the victim's car.
During our investigation, we learned that one of the bullets, even though it didn't hit her, went through the baby's car seat in the back and lodged in the driver's seat of the car. Our victim was that close.
So I want you to imagine a scenario, Tiffany. So this man gets a package. He believes it's medication delivered to his house. It's at the wrong apartment. So he decides to walk over and give the medication to his neighbor, which is a very neighborly, nice thing to do, right? This other neighbor and his son, they see through the Ring doorbell that this guy is at the front door. So they grab their .45 pistols. Now, they don't just run to the door and confront the guy. The man had already left, gone into his apartment. These guys have their guns, and they go charging through the parking lot, looking for this alleged burglar that was trying to break into their house.
Because all I did is ring the doorbell?
Didn't even ring the doorbell. The guy just walked up and put the package by the front door. So then they saw a woman sitting in her car in the parking lot. They decide to confront the woman and demand, while they're pointing a gun at her, that she gets out of the vehicle. Can anybody say, like, in my mind, these guys are either so mentally ill or they were on drugs.
Yeah.
Because it seems
super
like
paranoid.
Just a really extreme reaction. So imagine if you're in your car parked and a bad guy comes charging up with a gun demanding that you get out. What are you going to do, Tiff?
And I'm not getting out.
You're not getting out.
Yeah.
You're probably going to put the
throw
car
it in reverse and be like,
and try to get the hell out of there, right?
Because they're so crazy, they'll probably shoot at me too.
The father fired 5 shots into this woman's car, and the son fired 2 shots, or maybe I got that backwards.
And for no reason.
No, because she's a burglar who's now trying to run them over.
But she wasn't the person on the Ring doorbell.
I know that. But you're dealing with morons with guns that are wildly overreacting and putting a lot of people's lives in danger. So tell me in the comments below.
Wow.
These guys got arrested. They got charged with a whole slew of crimes.
Thank goodness for that.
Should they go to prison? Tell me in the comments.
Yes.
Do these guys need to go to prison for a long time? 5, 10, 20 years?
Yes. That's, what's it called? Not aggravated.
Aggravated battery.
Is that aggravated battery?
Yes,
or
it's
is that...
using a deadly weapon with intent to kill.
Yeah, I don't
They
know
obviously
if you go to
intended
jail.
to kill
Do
that
you even
woman.
go to jail with aggravated battery nowadays? I mean,
In Florida, yeah.
do you?
Are you
how
insane?
long do you go to jail? 1 year, 6 months?
No. You're talking 10, 15, 20 years?
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what you're...
Okay, well, I think that's good. Well,
Like,
because
I almost
it seems
got
like
10
a
year-
lot of these crimes that people commit, they're like getting like 6 months.
I think that's in other states, though. I don't think that kind of stuff is happening in Florida. I would
don't
hope
know.
not. I mean, if you're shooting at people, you deserve to go to in an unjustified
100%.
situation.
And then somebody else said the other day, like, well, I would hate to see them lose their firearm rights. No, you lose your rights. If you cannot control yourself and you are that freaking stupid, you lose everything. Like, no rights, 0 rights. You don't get any rights.
So
Am
now,
I wrong?
let me. No, I agree. 0 rights.
Because,
You've
like,
proven
that's
you're not smart enough to
completely
handle
stupid.
this. Yep. What would you do if you were inside of your house and you really did see somebody trying to break into your front door? You've got your gun. You run up. Is it smart to open up that door?
No. You don't.
Why?
Okay, the first thing you do, always, if someone's like trying to kick down your door or bust down your door or whatever, first thing you do is get on 911.
Okay.
Then you get in a position of, like I say, of like cover, but like pointed towards the front door. Okay. So now, and then I believe you should yell out commands. This is exactly what I would do, whether or not this is right or not. But this is exactly what I do. I would start yelling out commands. I have a gun. If you come through that door, I will shoot you. And this would all be on 911. Me warning them, me telling them that if they come into my residence, if they force their way in, I will shoot you. And I would stand there ready to shoot. And then once I would not shoot through the door, because you never do that, but once they actually bust down the door and come through, they don't know where I am. I know where they are. So I have the advantage by being ready to fire.
Sure.
So that's exactly what I would do. And as I'm on the phone with 911, in between commands, I would say somebody's trying to bust in my house. I have a firearm. I'm afraid for my life. If they come through the door, I'm shooting. I'm at this address. Get here now.
At what point, what would have to happen for it to be justified for you to charge outside with the gun looking for the alleged burglar?
Never.
Why never?
0. What? Because they didn't do anything. Even if they just kicked the door a couple times and then left, I'm still not going to do it. What I may do if I see them leaving is I may get their license plate or whatever it is and tell the 911 operator, but I'm not going outside.
Yeah, don't go outside.
I'm not going outside and charging people down, especially like going to somebody's vehicle that's not even...
Well, you just don't know, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like trying to grab a dog that has rabies or is very sick or hurt. Like, it's going to bite you.
Yeah.
And if you go and start chasing and pursuing bad guys, you're just putting yourself in a really dangerous situation that is uncalled for.
Yeah, you never want to chase the assailant. Like, there was that lady, too, where they stole her puppies or whatever, and she went outside and she was chasing them.
Yeah.
So from what I've learned is you don't chase them, nothing, unless they have your child. Like, that would be the only reason.
Sure.
Is if they like had my child. But any form of property, I wouldn't chase them. I would just try to be a good witness, get as much information as possible to get them in jail. But that would be
Mercedes says if you leave your home, it's hard to prove that you're afraid.
Right. Oh, yeah. Good one, Mercedes. Good point.
Yeah. Maybe if your kid was kidnapped.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. If somebody took one of my kids, I'm coming at you like a freaking honey badger. Honey badgers are badass little... Oh, bro. You remember that honey badger video from back in the day?
Yeah. No, they're what it is they're not scared.
They're just not scared.
They're
just
not
don't care.
intimidated,
Yeah.
because we did have badgers on the farm, and my dad would always tell us, like, make sure if you come across a badger, you don't go after it, because we'd always see muskrats and stuff, but those, muskrats wouldn't come after you. They'd run. But a honey badger, they'll fight you. They're not scared of you. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so Jennifer says, can I conceal carry in the Countryside Mall if their code of conduct says no guns allowed? Tell me in the comments below. Can you carry?
Yes.
At the mall? Yes. Are you sure?
Yeah, you can go. It's not one of the federal places. It has a no guns allowed sign, but those don't hold weight in Florida. In other states they do, but in the state of Florida they do not. So unless it's one of the 15 prohibited places
that are on the screen right now,
that you see on the screen right now, then you can go ahead and carry. Now there is one caveat. If they see your firearm and they ask you to leave, you must leave, or else you can get charged with armed trespassing.
Felony armed trespassing.
Felony,
which is 10 years in prison.
Yes, But if you actively leave, then they can't charge you with trespassing. So you're not doing anything wrong as long as you leave if they ask. But if you're carrying properly, there should be no issue. They should not even know that you have a firearm, and you just go on in and, do your business.
Yeah, one of the big things we've been noticing from students lately is they keep saying, like, how do I get other people to be comfortable that I have a gun? How do I get, like, the people at my job at the mall to be comfortable that I have a gun? Or people at church comfortable that I have a gun?
Or I'm worried what people will think when I have a gun.
The truth is, it's nobody's business, right? It's kind of like walking up to somebody and being like, hey, what's your favorite sexual position? It's none of my business, right? So the fact that I have a gun...
Might be interesting to know, though.
No, it's just, it's just like, it's nobody's business, right? So nobody needs to know that you have a gun.
Yes.
When you go to the mall, you don't walk in and be like, hello, I have a gun.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to Target. I have a handgun.
Hello, I like this sexual position.
Yeah. Like, that's just not the way that it works, right?
Nobody's business. So, like, when you go, I know I had somebody say that too. Like, what happens when I go to my friend's house? You don't have to tell your friend.
Yeah,
like you just go in. You sit down on the couch. You have your glass of wine or your glass of coffee. You talk whatever you're talking, and then you leave, and that's it. You don't have to tell everybody. And if you're properly concealed carrying, nobody will really know either.
Yeah.
So
it just becomes irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is pretty interesting.
Wait.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, sweetie. Before you go on, so Dave had a good question concerning that. So Dave P says, can you get in trouble for printing? Well, if you're in the state of Florida, no, you can't actually. Printing is not illegal in the state of Florida. But like I mentioned before, if you're printing in a place where there is a no guns allowed sign and they ask you to leave, actually, even if there's not a no guns allowed sign and they ask you to leave, because they saw that you were printing, then you must leave. But you can't just, let's just say, for instance, Ryan, every time he walks into a store and the wind is blowing opposite of him, his shirt, suction cups to himself, and you can see a clear outline of his firearm because he carries appendix, like 1 o'clock or something, 12:30. And so if somebody were to just see his firearm, he wouldn't get in trouble for just printing like that. Brandishing, which is completely different, which is displaying your firearm in a rude or careless,
angry or threatening manner, not necessary self-defense.
So when you are displaying your firearm purposely in a rude, careless, or angry, then that's totally different.
Right. So when I was first started carrying a gun, I was very, very concerned about printing, and I still make a really big deal about printing in my trainings because I want to make sure you guys try as hard as you can to reduce it. However, the truth of the matter is, people are so oblivious on their cell phones and their own little world. They are not paying attention to you, Dave. They don't know. So I just walk in and really there's only 3 types of people that will ever notice that you have a gun. Good guys that already carry guns.
Yep.
Cops who carry guns. And criminals who carry guns. Yep. Everybody else, the sheep, completely oblivious.
They don't notice you.
Like I notice when I'm in a store, I'm like, that dude has a gun. That guy has a gun right there. My daughter's teacher the other day, I was like, damn, Paisley, your teacher carries a gun at school, huh? And she's like, yeah.
Yeah, so, and here's the thing, when you first kind of start carrying, you feel like everybody sees it. You feel like everybody notices. I remember when I bought my first car, right? It was that red Chevy, Cavalier, a Chevrolet Cavalier. And I'm driving home from the dealership, right? And I'm like, yeah, baby. And every time I'd pass someone, I'd look like, you're going to be looking at me, right? Because I'm driving this awesome new car. Nobody ever looked. Nobody ever noticed. Every single car I passed for a whole hour, nobody looked at me. And I was like, well, damn, I just spent $25,000 on this car. Nobody even notices, right? But you think that people notice the new thing. The other thing is, I noticed every single Chevy Cavalier all of a sudden that I passed.
Yeah.
Whereas before, didn't even know that car existed. So you as a concealed carry permit holder will notice other people carrying, but the rest of the world is just driving, not noticing nothing. They're walking by, they don't see anything.
What would you do if you saw a man slap and beat the crap out of a pregnant woman in the parking lot of a Publix?
Wasn't he stomping on her
Then, when he got her on the ground, he started kicking her in the stomach. What would you do?
Oh, man, that's rough. I mean, I know what happened in the story, and
Tell the whole story.
Well, somebody saw it. A Good Samaritan saw it, right? And they pulled their firearm. No shots were fired, but they pulled the firearm to stop the situation. And that's exactly what I would do, because you see a pregnant woman being beat up, and then she was put to the ground, stomped on her stomach. She's bleeding.
And it was his girlfriend.
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, crazy situation. But just look at that guy. Like, who decided to have a child with this dude?
Yeah. My gun would definitely be out, and probably I'd just smoke him, because this guy is not going to be doing that woman any good.
Yeah.
For the rest of his life. And he's not going to be doing that baby any good, because people like this are going to continue to do it.
Yeah, but you have to back up, because we say to stop the threat, right? So if he stops doing what he's doing once you pull your firearm,
then you have to stop.
Then you got to stop.
But if I can do the world a favor.
I understand, but if he continues to do something or ignore you or, hit her another time after you've pulled your firearm, then legally you could, because there is threat of an imminent threat.
Yeah, when I was in the military, one of the guys in my training squadron, I was standing behind him one time. We were like coming back from lunch or something, and I'm in like formation behind him. And as I'm looking at his head, I was like, bro, your head is like that. So I couldn't talk or anything, but I'm looking at it thinking, what the hell am I looking at? So then like later when the drill sergeants and stuff were out of the room, I said, dude, what happened to your head? And he said, my mom was a nurse at a mental hospital when she was pregnant with me. And a patient like freaked out and started kicking her in the stomach, deformed his head. So he like,
for sure.
Everything is still fine, but his head is all like twisted, right?
Sure, yeah.
So we talk a lot about how just because somebody is punching you doesn't necessarily mean you have a right to actually use a firearm in self-defense.
Yeah.
But in a situation like this, in my opinion, because you have an unborn child who is very susceptible to getting punched, kicked, hurt.
Yeah.
I think, and I do value the life of a pregnant unborn baby.
Yeah.
So I think that does mean we're saving a life.
Yeah,
so
right.
I think that using a gun would 100% be justified.
Yeah. I agree 100% with that. Yeah. That's crazy though. It's crazy how many situations we can actually play through our mind. When you sent today's email, I don't know if you guys are on Ryan's email list or not, but somebody responded and said, you know what, thank you so much for sending these emails and these examples, because I often forget that these things happen at local Walmarts or Publix or whatever it is. And it's a good reminder for me to remember to carry all the time. Just like we want to put our seatbelt on all the time because we can't predict when we're going to be in a car accident. We want to have our firearm all the time because we can't predict walking up on some guy, stomping on a pregnant lady's belly in the parking lot of a Publix.
And again, like I asked the group on Saturday, how many of you plan on carrying your firearm 100% of the time you're legally allowed? And I bet you out of there's probably 15 people in that room. I bet you 4 of them said, I'm going to carry my gun all the time. So that means 11 people are just getting the gun permit in case they feel like carrying the gun.
The thing is, though, is that that's kind of like the normal progression. I think a lot of us have been there, and a lot of us have had that mindset when we first, bought a firearm or first got our concealed carry permit, that we would just carry it kind of when we needed it or we felt like we needed it. I think that's kind of a natural thing.
Yeah, I think it is.
And then when you continue to learn,
train and feel comfortable
and see things the way they are, and follow our channel, maybe buy the Shoot Don't Shoot book, you start to realize the different situations, the different scenarios, and you start to see that these things literally happen in good neighborhoods and bad neighborhoods. Like it really happens anywhere.
But see, that's my point.
Don't want to say the Bible quote, it rains on the just and the unjust. It happens in the good areas and the bad areas. There's no way to predict when something's going to happen.
That's my point, is that a lot of people that are not ready to carry a gun 100% of the time, it's because they deep down inside don't think they have to. And stories like this help you understand, like Mercedes. How would you feel if you're at Publix grocery shopping and you see some pregnant woman, getting her ass kicked by some scumbag like this? I'd feel pretty bad if I didn't have my gun on me and have the ability to actually
have the ability to stop it, right? Yeah, and it's very dangerous to interject if you don't have the means to protect yourself, right? Especially like me as a woman, I would not feel comfortable to say like, hey, I probably still would just because, but I mean, just for me to yell at him like, hey, stop, that could throw him in a fit of rage and come after me.
He might have a gun and try to shoot you. There's just no telling, right?
So you definitely need the means to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Craziness.
Okay, so Lance says, what do you think about ankle carry? Kind of hard to get. To. I thought it would be better than nothing. Okay. Yeah, Lance, I definitely think ankle carry is better than nothing. However, like ankle carry is for really deep concealed carry. If you're looking for a really deep, easy concealed carry option, I would say pocket carry.
I was going to say pocket all the way.
Ruger LCP2 with a DeSantis Nemesis pocket holster. Bro, that is amazing. What I love about pocket carry is that anybody can do it, except women, I guess. You guys don't have pockets.
We can still do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I can
still
fit
it in. Like Eric. Eric is a business professional, right? He wears nice clothes, slack stuff, right, like that, right? He can have that gun in his front pocket, and it would just look like a wallet.
A wallet, yeah.
But then, let's say, like, there's some homeless guy in downtown Tampa that's making Eric feel a little bit weird, right? He can just slip his hand in his pocket and have his hand on his gun ready to roll. But nobody can knows. Tell. They just think he has his hand in his pocket.
It's almost like a little bit more, it's just like... It's a little bit more unassuming, right? Because you can't just put your firearm if you're carrying appendix. Or 4 o'clock. You can't just lift your shirt and like put your hand on your gun because now you're actually like in
threatening act.
Called? No, but what's it called? It's proposing or something. The word I can't remember what it's called, but confirming. It's confirming. So having pocket holster you actually have kind of a little bit of a leg up because you can put your hand on the firearm. It's kind of, I know you hate purse carry, but it's the same thing. You can actually slip your hand in your purse, have your hand on your firearm, ready to pull or ready to shoot through your purse.
Sure.
Right? You don't even have to pull the gun out. You can literally just shoot through your purse if you feel like you're a threat or there's somebody as a threat.
Sure.
So I feel like you kind of have the upper hand.
But I don't recommend purse
carry.
I
know you don't.
Nobody does. It's ridiculous.
I know.
It's very dangerous.
I got it. I understand.
Okay. Any other thoughts on that?
No.
Okay, so Eric says, I used to, but now I have the Haircat Pro with the Muddy River Tactical, tuckable, nice.
Yep.
Doesn't print in a business suit. Awesome. That's
Muddy
River,
great. Awesome. Love it.
Okay, Michael says I pocket carry a Smith & Wesson 642 revolver, totally hidden. That's cool.
You must have big pockets.
You can say you were confirming to yourself that you had your gun on you too. Yeah, I mean, you can say whatever you want, right? The problem is we always want to be very cautious with giving the other people evidence because bad guys don't tell the truth. Can we all agree with that? They don't tell the truth. So if you do anything about your gun, when the police show up, they're going to try to find ways to prove that you're the bad guy and they're the victim. So they're going to start yelling things, even though it's not true. He said he was going to shoot me. He said he was going to kill me.
Yeah.
He said this racist thing. And then you're like, oh my gosh, like this is wildly blowing out of proportion, right?
Yeah.
So we don't even want to allow that to be in the conversation.
Yeah, to give them a reason, any reason at all. And I agree, Mercedes, like a lot of times we can't pocket carry, but what I've found is that if I wear a shirt that's a little bit longer, like a t-shirt, it's okay if it's in my pocket and kind of, it just sticks out just a tad, but just a handle basically. So I
Say
can
it again,
just have
out of your pocket?
Yeah, I can still have my shirt over top of it.
Yeah. But it won't fall out? Okay.
No.
All right, so John, I think it's John, J-H-O-N, says he has USCCA. What do we have? We have US Law Shield.
US Law Shield, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like $13 a month or something like that.
It's not the price. I don't need all the crap that the USCCA
We don't need all the bells and whistles, basically.
Yeah. All right, story number 4. Oh my gosh, what was this story? Oh, this is a dude.
He looks like a happy guy.
That's a criminal.
He looks like a nice dude. If I were to see him on the street, I'd be like, yo, what's up, man?
Which is why you can't trust what people look like.
I know. I totally agree because he doesn't look like that other guy with the Silence of the Lambs butterfly on his throat.
Do you know how many students I have had come into the concealed carry class after they were attacked while riding a bicycle, like exercising? Tiffany,
say
it
this.
happens all the flippin' time.
Don't say it, because I'm so scared rollerblading.
Okay, there's a man. Let me show you this man right here.
They're riding a bike?
Jeffrey Chapman is riding his bike.
Okay.
This guy just decides to randomly, didn't say a word to Jeffrey. No confrontation, no argument, nothing. Randomly sees a guy riding by on a bike. Grabs a tire iron, beat this guy to death.
No!
Right in Clearwater.
Oh.
Then...
Is he a family guy?
It sounds like he had a girlfriend or like
I hate when
had a
they
girlfriend,
have
but it doesn't
kids.
sound like he was married.
Okay.
And then this guy went to work.
And pretended nothing happened?
He just went to work.
Like, what?
And then the police showed up and they arrested him and he's like, yeah, I did beat that guy to death. What? Totally casual.
Look at this guy. He's like a happy-go-lucky.
But this is why we call them wolves, right? They have no empathy. They don't fear the police. They don't
But this
fear
is
the
whole
consequence.
wolf, sheep, and wolf what is it? Wolf and sheep's clothing. Wow.
It's pretty wild, right?
That's very scary.
So now the question is, what do you do?
Well,
like one of the stories that I had, a student had like one of those really expensive bikes that was like $5,000.
Yeah.
He's riding it on the Pinellas Trail and he's like passing a group of like 5 or so 18, 19-year-olds. And as he's passing them, which is normal, right? There's people walking, people riding bikes. The kid just shoved him off the bike. But with that kind of bike, his shoes are like mounted into the bike,
no,
right?
they're clipped in.
Clipped in. So he fell on the ground like hard. One of the dudes jumped on top of him and started beating him.
Oh my gosh.
He was eventually able to get his helmet off and he used his helmet as a weapon and started beating the guys with the helmet. And then they took his bike and then they just left. Shortly after that, there was a man riding his bicycle on the Pinellas Trail. And he was a young guy. So he was probably like 18, 19. But he had beautiful Jordans on. He rides his bike so the camera sees him, and then it goes in this little wooded area for just like 100 feet. He never came out of the wooded area. 2 men shot him, I believe, like 14 times.
For his Jordans?
And the only thing they took was his tennis shoes.
Oh.
Is that crazy?
That is so sad. Okay, what's the best way to carry if you're a biker?
Maybe a fanny pack. Maybe the 4 o'clock position. They wear those tight clothes, though. That would be kind of tough. I think fanny pack.
4 o'clock would be hard. Maybe?
A fanny pack.
Even like a belly band appendix.
Yeah. A little
like
bit higher up.
With the small,
So you can still bend over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to tell bikers they need to carry.
I do tell them that. That's my
No,
job.
but
I
I
do it
know.
all the time.
We
You want me
have
to
to
make
tell-
freaking flyers and go find
Yeah.
all the bikers and be like, hey, biker,
we need to
carry
tell
a gun.
We need to tell more bikers. But that's my big, because you're on a bike and you're like not expecting it, and you're easy to knock down or easy to do something like that. I worry about that so much with rollerblades. It's freaking me out. Even having a gun, I get freaked out.
Why?
I don't know. It's just been happening lately. And you know how I get like thoughts, and then like
You have thoughts? I know, it's a shocker, right?
No, I feel like intuition.
You feel like, okay, all right.
Yeah, and today I passed someone and my intuition said, because I was supposed to do 2 more laps, and I'm not just saying this because I was tired and I wanted to go home. I was supposed to do 2 more laps. I forgot to tell you about this. And I passed the guy.
Who? Is this somebody that lives in the neighborhood?
I don't know, but he was like this when he saw me, and I was like, I'm going straight freaking home. And I went straight home, and I got my rollerblades off, and I locked the door, and then I went in the car, and he was outside of the neighborhood already. So I don't think he was in our neighborhood, but I got really nervous. I forgot to tell you about this.
Oh, interesting.
So
Where was I? I was on a walk, I guess?
Yeah, you were on a walk, but it's so scary.
Yeah, it is scary.
Because like even if you have a firearm, like I get, your chances are better with a firearm, but like what I was thinking is, I've got my ear pods in or whatever. If somebody comes up and like whacks me in the back of the head, like I'm not gonna know. I'm just gonna be knocked out.
Ash is very upset about bikers.
Oh.
Bikers are always causing problems. Drive 15 miles in a 45. I get it, bro.
No,
they
listen,
bother me too. But when I'm riding my bike to exercise, my mind is, bro, just slow down. Give me a second. Just go around me.
Yeah,
like,
and I think we need to have a little bit more grace like that with people. Like, I get it. Just like people who walk, on the road instead of the sidewalk. It's like, why don't you walk on the sidewalk where it's like safe? Why are you walking like on the
but where I
sidewalk?
walk, there is no sidewalk.
Well, I know.
I end up walking in the grass most of the time.
I'm specifically talking about Bloomingdale because the community posts about Nature's Way all the time. I've never been there.
Oh, really?
But they're always talking about people walking on the road. And I guess like 2 people have been hit there.
Wow.
So it's like a popular thing, but people walk on the road. So I get it. But this is all part of like all of us just like slowing down, calming down, taking a deep breath and just passing the biker, or passing the people walking.
Or you get an air horn. All right, so Road King says, so the biker didn't have words with the attacker prior to the assault. It doesn't sound like it.
No, so
it
that's
sounds
crazy.
like it was totally random. And even the attacker said, like, he admitted to it, this was just random. There's no reason why he did it, no justification. He just did it. Which isn't that like the scariest kind of bad guy to deal with?
That is, and there was a guy that actually hit in Clearwater, like probably 2 or 3 years ago. He hit a guy on a bike with his car.
Okay.
And he said he just wanted to know what it was going to feel like, and he just made the decision and like swerved into him, hit him, and then went to work.
Yeah, I remember there was that guy that
Remember
went live on Instagram. Maybe it was that one, and he said, "I'm gonna see what it feels like to kill somebody today."
Yeah, I think that was that guy.
He
And then
said
hit a
that
biker.
online, and then he killed somebody later that day.
Like,
and
just-
it's like, holy crap, dude.
So I think that's just mental illness,
Yeah.
probably. There's no reason for it, and that's kind of the sad thing. And that's what I was saying. Like, here's the truth of the matter. I say it all the time. There's things that you can do, but sometimes it's just your time.
Yeah.
If someone's gonna come up, like literally when you're walking and somebody just comes up and hits you in the back of the head with a baseball bat, I mean, it is what it is.
Oh yeah, they hit you with a baseball bat. It's pretty over.
Yeah, or drives by with a something. I mean, we can do the best we can to protect ourselves, but let me tell you, if the good Lord timing, it's the good Lord's timing.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do.
True. But I'm gonna go down kicking and swinging. Kicking, swinging. It's
like
gonna
a
be terrible.
wet cat in a bag.
Okay. I know a guy who was friends with the guy, ran down on the bike trail.
Oh, yeah, when he was with his 2 boys. Yeah,
Oh,
that was on
yes.
Bayshore. Yeah, and that guy, that was where the family was trying to get him help before he did it.
Right. Trying to
Yeah.
put him in a mental
Trying
institution.
to put him in a mental
And the
institution.
state of Florida wouldn't put him in a mental institution. But
Yeah.
then after he killed 2 people,
Then they did.
Then they put him in a mental
Yeah,
institution.
so good job.
Awesome, right? Yeah, idiots.
Man.
All right, question number 4. Amanda says, are you allowed to use deadly force if somebody enters your vehicle when you are parked in a parking lot? Luckily, I had my doors locked when somebody tried to enter, but want to know what my options would be. Interesting. I don't think Amanda's a person. I've had probably 3 just recently, people that got robbed while sitting in their cars at night.
Yeah, not
So-
paying attention on their phone, right?
On their phone, because you got the glow of the phone, right? The bad guy can see you're there.
And let's be honest, isn't that what we all do when we're waiting? I mean, rightfully so. When we're waiting, we're on our phone, right? It's just some of us don't take that extra step to lock the door.
Lock the door, make sure your windows are rolled up, because it does happen a lot. So we just had a student that somebody, they robbed him. They opened the door up and shoved the gun in their face and robbed him.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so Amanda, here are the questions. So number 1, how could this be avoided?
Lock your doors.
Make sure your doors are locked, which sounds like they were. But also make sure you're very aware of your environment. I remember I was parked at a Burger King. I was in the drive-thru line, right by I-4 in Ybor City, right?
Okay.
So that's like a rough
area.
bad area. And I remember I'm sitting there and I'm like waiting, getting ready to pay. And all of a sudden I look in my mirror over to the left and I see a man walking up to the driver's side door. And then I looked on the right-hand mirror and there was a man walking up to the passenger side door. I freaking went like this real quick and I put my hand on my gun. And these 2 guys, they must have been college students, stupid. And they probably were just going to walk in between just to be funny or be stupid.
Yeah.
But the way that I spun like this, it made them realize, like, oh, shit, we scared this dude. And then they both...
Or this guy sees us.
They both stopped, and they walked, like, very clearly around me to make sure, like, they're letting me know they're not trying to sneak up on me.
Right.
But, dude, I was scared, man, because I was like, this is it. This is it. This is going down in the drive-thru of a Burger King, bro. Like... This is it.
So how could the situation have been avoided? Yes, lock your doors. But okay, keep going. I was gonna say let's answer what her thing was.
Okay, so
it was if her doors weren't locked.
No, it's what are her options? Was the question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So does the scenario fall under the Castle Doctrine law? So it says that a person who unlawfully and by force enters or attempts to enter a person's dwelling, residence, or occupied vehicle is presumed to be doing so with the intent to commit an unlawful act involving force or violence.
Yeah.
So question number 1, did the attacker enter or attempt to enter an occupied vehicle? Yes, you're in your car, bad guy is attempting to enter.
Yeah.
Did the attacker enter or attempt to enter unlawfully?
Yes.
Did the bad guy have a legal right to be there?
No.
Not at all, right?
Right.
Did the attacker enter or attempt to enter by force?
So that wouldn't be like breaking a window or whatever, but
It could be breaking a window.
Yes, it could be, but just by even opening the door, that would be considered.
I think it would be a forceful
by
entry.
force because he's not allowed to be there. Now, if it's your son or your son-in-law that's getting back into the vehicle, you couldn't shoot them and be like, oh, I got it, because they were legally allowed to be there. They came there with you, that type of thing. But
yeah, you're getting distracted. So by force means the bad guy attempted to break a window, smash through the door, or even attempted to open the door.
Yes.
Correct. All right, so the next question, is the use of deadly force a reasonable response? If somebody is like opening your door while you're there and you're fighting for your life, is it a reasonable response to pull out a gun and shoot?
Yeah.
Of course it is. I think it is.
Now, if they just open your door and like, oops, wrong vehicle.
No, you deserve.
That happened.
You deserve what comes to you.
That literally just happened.
To who?
To a 19-year-old kid that got shot dead.
Good.
No, he was just trying to get into the wrong vehicle. He didn't display any.
It doesn't matter. Did he enter unlawfully?
Yes.
Did he enter by force?
The person got arrested.
Okay, but it's all just how he articulates it. Is the use of deadly force a reasonable response? I did not know this person who just unlawfully entered my vehicle.
I think, too, like, there's always, like, clues, right? Like, if they're like, oh, sorry. I mean, that's compared to, like, I don't know. I'm a little more.
Yeah, listen, none of us want to shoot anybody, but you're quite a moron if you just get into a random vehicle. So.
Well, has that never happened to you?
No,
Have you never been a young kid and like grabbed the wrong parent's hand and then been like, oh wait, you're not my mom?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Are you kidding me?
I
think has anybody else done that? Because I've done that probably like 5 times, and my kids have done it, and they've just been like gone up to the wrong person. Oh, whoops, because they just got distracted.
Yeah, maybe.
So,
I get what you're saying.
Like sometimes those things happen. I'm not saying that happens probably very often, but it did literally just happen to a kid in Florida, 19 years old, got into the wrong, wasn't paying attention, was on his phone, opened the car door, and the person just shot him right away, and he was just getting into the wrong car.
Okay, I mean, it's kind of like that story, if you remember. These guys had a bachelor party down in Miami. They rented this big mansion on the beach or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They went to a strip club. They were drinking, and then some of them came home early, and then like another one came home by himself, and he was like
because he had a booty call,
hammered drunk, right? So he has the taxi drop him off, or Uber, or whatever it was, but he didn't remember which house was the one they rented.
Yeah.
So he goes up and he starts trying to get into this house that he thought was the house that they had rented, that all his friends were at. And he finally got in, and the homeowner shot and killed him. So again, whose fault is that? Is it the homeowners, who all they know is there's a very aggressive person forcing their way into my home? Or is it the drunk man's fault, who got so intoxicated they don't even know what's happening, and they break into the wrong house?
Okay. Steve Kelly says, I had a woman get into my car in front of Publix, and her husband was in the exact same car.
Oh, that's funny.
Mercedes said she's grabbed the handle of a car that looks like hers today.
Oh, really?
So this happens because
if
you're not paying attention, right? And you just you go and it looks like your car, and you go to grab it and you're like, oh, whoops, somebody's in there, or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So that is something, but I also think probably it depends like on how they do it, right? Like somebody who's just like getting in casually is gonna like kind of like get in, like,
well, again, like,
compared to like opening the door like super aggressively and like
Yeah.
shoving themselves in. Like, I think there's also a lot of clues and
Body language.
yes, body language and clues there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that in this story you're telling me, I don't know any details. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. But if this 19-year-old is walking up to the car, right? And the guy sitting in the car had enough time to think to himself, ooh, I better get my gun out because this guy's about to try to get in my car. And he's got that gun pointed at the door, but he never thought to himself, I'm going to lock the door. I would say you're kind of an idiot.
Yeah.
Right? First step is make sure the door's locked. It's funny. We were at the kids always ask me to roll the windows down when we're driving.
Mercedes says she's glad it wasn't your car, Ryan. She would have been toast.
No, I would have been like, what's up, Mercedes? What are you doing?
No, but I mean, it is something to think about.
Yeah.
It is something to think about. So Lewis says that I was shot at years ago by a back shooter, but survived. Took 3 seconds.
By a back shooter? What does that mean?
I think it's like somebody in the back of the vehicle.
I was shot years ago by, what do you mean by that, Lewis?
Took about 3 seconds, happened that quick. So.
That's how fast it took Tiff to get pregnant. A lot of stuff can happen, Lewis. Okay, 100% focus all the time. Funny thing, my wife was 10 steps behind and looked at me. What the hell is going on?
Yeah, getting into the
it's
wrong
funny.
car. Yeah, you definitely gotta.
I was
be
on.
careful.
Tom says I was on my phone, walked up to the next car to mine, reached for the handle, then I realized it was not my car.
Yeah, so like.
Okay,
this happens a lot.
Apparently, it happens a lot.
So we don't want to just right away blast and assume
again,
be ready.
This is about having guns. Is about saving our lives.
Yes.
Not about doing dumb stuff.
Yeah, not about shooting someone who's like some 90-year-old woman. Like, oh, it's a wrong car. Right? Oh my gosh. Shot at from behind.
Shot at from behind. Okay.
You're still not giving us more
I know,
information,
like,
Lewis.
You should be a motivational speaker, Lewis.
A storyteller.
Yeah, professional storyteller. It was dark.
Email us.
Email me the whole story, or we can get on Zoom one day and I'll get your whole story.
Yeah, if anybody has a real story, not a made-up story, a real story of surviving an attack or something that happened to you where you were, almost attacked or something like that, then let us know.
Email us.
Email us at classes@tampacarry.com, and Ryan wants to do a Zoom with you.
Yeah.
Because we are looking for stories for our new book. Somebody asked if we were doing a 2023 book. Yes, we are. We've done a 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. We are doing a 2023. But if you have a story, email us.
Yep.
Okay. Do you have any more questions, my love?
Nope, that's it.
That's it? Any more news stories?
I don't. I had another one, and dude, I don't know.
To put it in?
I thought I put it in, but
I guess not.
The pregnant woman. Hold on, let me check because it was such a crazy story. Maybe it's this one. No, that's not it. Oh, okay. This is it right here. I somehow skipped over this.
Yes.
Yeah. So this guy saw somebody breaking into his house, grabbed his gun, opened fire, and realized he shot and killed his son.
This morning, a father is now charged with manslaughter after allegedly shooting his son. Lindsay McGeorge has been charged with killing his 19-year-old son, Jaden McGeorge, who he believed to be a burglar. Lindsay McGeorge was already in custody at the Sumter County Detention Center on unrelated charges.
Pretty terrible, right? This is why it is so important, so critical for us to have a weapon light mounted on our home defense guns so we can actually light up the darkness and see who that alleged bad guy is before we open fire.
Yeah.
This is also why I had a woman in the class. She said somebody was trying to break in, and she said, I just sat quietly in my apartment. I didn't want them to know I was there. And I said, but ma'am, you want them to know you're there. You want to start yelling things like, I have a gun and I'm going to shoot you.
So if it is your son, then Dad, stop. Or,
correct.
If it's me, like Ryan, it's me.
Right. You want to yell a lot of commands.
Oh, man.
Because let's say it really is a burglar breaking into your house and you're able to yell and say, I have a gun, I'm going to shoot you. And the bad guy says, like, I'm out. And they drop your TV and they run out the front door. Isn't that what we want? Like, do you really want to get in a gunfight with some random person in your house? Of course not. If saying words is enough to get them to run, that's what we want to do. But if it's You know, a police officer. We saw that cop who was doing a wellness check in Riverview last year. Got into this guy's house to make sure he was alive. But the man didn't have his hearing aids in, and he ended up getting shot and killed by the police officer. We want to say things so people know what we're planning to do.
Yeah, I feel like I already have that ingrained, because if you notice, every single time when you ask me what I would do, I say, I would yell commands. I always say that I would yell commands first, because I want to warn you, like, you're going to get shot. I'm going to kill you unless you stop doing what you're going to do. You know, so I do think that yelling commands is like one of the most important things you can do. And I also think, you know, I always say, like, call 911, let it record, and then make sure you're yelling those commands. Because I feel like that's showing that you're trying to do the best that you can to stop whoever it is from doing what they're doing before they move to that next step.
And you have to make sure you have practiced a really cool catchphrase before you shoot.
Mine is probably just going to be Bruce Willis's, because that's what's in my head.
What's Bruce Willis's?
The yippee-ki-yay, mother effer.
Yeah, you got to have something cool. It's got to be trademarked, though, right? So, like...
Well, you can't... No, I'm not trademarking a term. That's not going to look good for your trial, Ryan. This guy trademarked a term.
Before he killed the bad guy?
Before he killed someone.
Christmas came early.
No, but I would definitely...
You ready for some Swiss cheese?
Commands. I want to know, like, what Mercedes thinks about our relationship. Because she said, Ryan will probably shoot you anyway, Tiff.
No. Let's delete that from the internet.
My wife yells commands all the time. Good, yes, Steve, you're used to it.
It's called being married, Steve.
Yes.
It's called being married, buddy. All right, any other questions on here?
Hi, Katora. I love you, too. I was burning my candle the other day thinking about you. So
That's a weird thing to say to another person.
No, she bought me the candle last Christmas.
She did?
Yeah, she mailed it to me.
Very nice.
And I lit it the other day when I was laying.
Because if I ever said that shit to somebody, they'd be like, oh my gosh, man.
No, it was a Yankee.
I was burning a candle and thinking about you.
It's a yummy
I'm going to text that to a random student just to see.
No, please don't.
I've been texting students GIFs of like people dancing, doing funny dance moves.
Yeah.
I'm not getting the reaction I thought I was going to get.
I'll tell you why. Because you think the GIFs that you pick are funny. He's like, look at this one. It's so funny. He's like new to GIFs. Like, I'm like, these have been around for like
they're pretty funny.
10 years, Ryan, and that's not funny. Like, you don't pick the good ones. I pick the good ones. I get reaction. You suck at GIF picking. I'm just saying.
Okay, so Facebook user says, with a Florida concealed carry permit, are you able to have your firearm concealed on your body when picking up and dropping off your kids at school?
You do not have Ryan's book, do you?
Yeah. Specifically while staying in your car in a parking lot, or does it have to be off body or in the car? So, I covered this topic. I think your name was Steve. I saw you on the Florida concealed carry group, but I think...
Is this the guy you said you'd answer his question?
And then I forgot.
And then you forgot?
Yeah. Okay, so Steve, I talk about this in my book in detail because there's a lot of like misconceptions about this this portion of the law.
But I like how he said, like, did you see? He's like, or does it just need to be off body, or does it just need to be unloaded in the car? So, unfortunately, all of those questions or all of those scenarios, answers you gave are wrong. So
yeah, the bottom line is, to summarize this whole point, the gun, knife, billy club, taser, stun gun, pocket knife is not even allowed to be on school property in your vehicle, period.
Not on school property at all.
The law actually says in my book right here, Florida law, that you're not even allowed to have a razor blade on school property unless you were issued the razor blade by the school for a school function.
Or actively shaving.
Okay, so here's part of the law here. It says a person shall not possess any firearm, electric weapon or device, destructive device, or other weapon as defined in Florida Statute 790.001 subsection 3 or 13, including a razor blade or a box cutter, except as authorized in support of school sanctioned activities as a sponsored event on the property of any school, school bus stop. Cannot be in a vehicle in pursuant to Florida Statute 790.25 subsection 5, except that school districts may adopt written and published policies that write exemption in the subparagraph, blah, 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 for campus privileges, which none of them do, by the way. And what's also interesting is the definition of what a school actually means. So a school means any preschool, elementary school, middle school, junior high school, secondary school, career center, or post-secondary school, whether public or private. Because the other big thing that I always hear from people is they're like, oh, my kid goes to a charter school. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Oh, somebody's posting dumb shit.
Somebody's posting.
Where are moderators at?
Porn, so
Block.
whatever.
Tiffany.
I am. I'm trying to block them. I'm blocking them. Don't click on the link. Don't look at the hot girls here.
Dumbass. Yeah. So hopefully that helps you. But yeah, so grab a copy of my book. All you got to do is go to floridaconcealcarrylaw.com.
Listen, we've made it super affordable for everybody. It's over 300 pages of laws. So he gives you the Florida statute, which he just read, but then he also breaks it down in Ryan layman's terms, right? Just explaining what it means. So it's very
Not
easy.
attorney layman's terms. We're talking real people layman's terms.
It's very easy to read. It's only $9.95. That's all we charge, is a little bit for shipping and handling, enough to pay me to put it in the package, print the label, put it in the label, and Ryan go to the UPS. So you can pick up a copy at floridaconcealcarrylaw.com, and I promise you will be happy you did. And I always tell people, keep a copy in your car. Keep a copy in the glove box. Pick up 2. Cost you $20 to get 2 books, and put one in the glove box, or pass it on to a friend. All right. Do you have any other questions, or else we are out of time tonight?
O-Town Racer says, what about if you drive through campus of UFC or UCF? Yeah, so again, in my book, I talk about how you're allowed to conceal carry a firearm or have a firearm on a college campus, but it has to stay inside of your vehicle, and it has to be securely stored or not readily accessible. So basically inside of something.
Okay. So a little bit different then.
Totally different, because you can actually have it inside of your vehicle. Yeah. And that was a Supreme Court decision that allows that, or that interpreted it that way.
Right. Probably because students are older and students on the campus. So here's the thing. When our kids used to go to Channelside Academy, Ryan would just park right across the street. I know this is a hassle. It's a pain in the butt. Nobody wants to do it. It's so much easier going through Carline. But it was actually quicker for him. He'd park across the street. He would walk over. He'd pick up Paisley. And then they'd walk back. And then he'd drive away. That way he could leave his firearm in the car. So I know that it's a pain in the butt. But technically or legally, you're not allowed to have a firearm on a school property. So
yep. Hopefully that answers your question, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? Who's the giveaway?
Oh gosh, I forgot about the giveaway. Dun, dun, dun. I keep doing this, right?
Hold on, Tiffany.
Show it.
Start scrolling
in case anybody wants to enter, go to wintampacarry.com. wintampacarry.com. And tonight we're gonna again do the T-shirt, which is gonna be the the Sheepdog T-shirt, right? So go ahead, read that name, Ryan.
Eric Baum.
Eric Baum, you win a T-shirt. That's the undercover T-shirt that you see on the picture right there. It says Sheepdog, but you can't really tell. I feel like only if you're a sheepdog, you'll kind of pick up on it. So just send us an email. I know that you already have our email. Send us an email, and we'll get with the size, and we'll get that shipped out to you right away.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you. Have a great week. Be safe.
Next Monday.
I am a sheepdog.
I have a subconscious and moral burden
to protect and help the people around me.
I believe in safety, responsibility,
and the God-given right to defend myself and others
from the wolves who seek to steal, kill, and destroy.
I defend the Second Amendment
by properly representing what it means to be a gun owner.
I will put aside my doubts,
my fears, and my excuses.
I will be trained, I will be ready.
I will be confident, and I will be prepared.
While some sheepdogs are born, most are made.
Becoming a sheepdog is a choice,
a new way of thinking, and a new identity.
An alter ego that you must step into.
We are patriots.
We are defenders of liberty.
We protect those we love.
We are sheepdogs.